how's it going? Today I want to talk about 5 different types of bulbs that you can be planting in your garden right now to enjoy beautiful blooms later on. And this is not going to be an ultimate growing guide. I just want to share some basic growing information, mostly for you beginner gardeners out there who might be driving around and you might be seeing these things in people's gardens and thinking, why don't I ever see these in the garden center? Like, I don't see these blooms anywhere in the garden center. It's because they're sold as bulbs. So I want to show you what the bulbs look like and give you some basic information so you can get going with it and get them in the ground so you can enjoy them too. Also, I want to thank flowerbulbs.com for partnering with us on this video. We have worked with them before. They're an organization that is there just to educate and inspire people to plant bulbs. Doesn't matter what brand you're buying, where you're buying them, they just want to provide you information and inspiration so that you will do that. They are funded in part by a European Union grant, and because that's where a lot of our bulbs come from, is Europe. So anyway, their mission is one I can get behind because I think the more bulbs that are planted, the better. So let's just jump into number 1, which are dahlias. Hugely popular and for a really good reason. They're incredibly productive plants. You plant one tuber or clump of tubers and you will get so many blooms from that single plant in one season. It's incredible. There's a lot of different colors of blooms. There's a lot of different structures. So you might see some labeled dinner plate dahlias, and they're the type that get huge blooms, like bigger than your face blooms. There are water lily types, anemone. There are cactus types that have more pointy petals, and then there are pom-poms that are smaller flowers that are more tightly structured. They're all really pleasing to look at because most all of them are very symmetrical and balanced, and they're incredibly easy to grow. There are a few things though to know. So I want to start off with the basic structure of a dahlia tuber. That's what a dahlia bulb is called. This is what they look like right here. Benjamin says they look like a bad banana, which I think is an apt description actually. So each tuber has 3 parts. There is the body right here. That is what contains the energy and nutrients to create your plant. Where it gets kind of skinny right here, that's called the neck. The neck just connects the body to the growth point or eye. So you have to have all 3 parts intact in order to get a dahlia plant. So let me show you on one more here. You can see this one's labeled terracotta. This is one I grew in our garden last year and dug it and stored it. So we've got the body right here, the neck, and growth point. Sometimes you'll find them for sale in clumps like this. Sometimes you'll see them in singles. Either way, you will get a nice plant and blooms from it. Hey, Russell. So dahlias like full sun, 6 to 8 hours minimum. They want to be placed in a spot that's well draining. So if you have a really soggy spot, that's not a great spot. If it's super dry, that's not great either. You want to make sure that it's, lofty enough soil that they can create tubers like this, because oftentimes you'll plant one tuber like this and it'll turn into a clump like this in a growing season, sometimes even more. So I planted one of my clumps last year, was about, I don't know, maybe it was 3, 4, or 5 tubers connected together at the top like this, and when I dug it up last fall, there were over 20 tubers in that one clump. So they're the type of plant that you put in the ground and not only get a ton of flowers, but if you want to grow your dahlia production, you can do that very quickly, because you can go from 1 tuber to up to 10 tubers in just one season. So you'll want to amend the area where you're planting them with compost and some starter fertilizer, and then you dig a hole or a trench 4 to 6 inches deep and space them about 12 to 18 inches apart. And you can go further apart if you want. If your dahlia plant is one that gets bigger, you can dot them around in flower beds just as an impact plant for more color if you'd like. We grow ours, most of ours, in more of a row crop production, so I go about every 12 inches for maximum production. So when you have your hole 4 to 6 inches deep, this is how you plant them. You'll want to make sure that the growth point or the eye is facing up, and that means that your tubers are most often more horizontal, like that. So it'll lay in the bottom of the hole pretty much like that. And then you cover back over to the current soil level. So you'll have 4 to 6 inches typically of soil on top. Right here, this one, you would plant with the tuber this way with the growth point facing up right there. And then here in our high desert climate, our soil out where we plant them is very powdery. So I do water them in one time. After I get done planting them, oftentimes you'll see in guides just to not water them at all until you see green growth up above the soil surface. So I water mine once, and then once I see green, then I start in with consistent water, and they do benefit from consistent irrigation throughout the season. You'll also want to keep in mind that pinching your plant is a good idea when it reaches about 12 to 18 inches tall. You can take your fingers or your snippers and then cut that leading stem, so the tallest stem in the center, down about 3 to 4 inches. And what that will do is it will increase the productivity of your plant, and it will increase the stem length of all of your flowers. So it makes them very nice for arranging. You'll also want to make sure you have a staking system in place, especially for the taller dahlias if you have them in an unprotected area. You can do this in multiple different ways. You can stake them individually if you want to, with a single bamboo stake or a wood stake or something like that. There are decorative cages you can use around them if you're putting them in flower beds. We have ours out in the cut flower garden staked with T-posts. It's not as pretty. the dahlias usually grow and cover up the staking system anyway, so you don't see it. But we put the metal T-posts every 8 feet and then put a nylon rope at about 2 and 3 foot height along each one of those, like in between each T-post, so that as each dahlia grows, we can lash them to the rope if we need to, if they need the extra support. But there are a lot of different sizes of dahlias out there, so if you're growing more compact, smaller varieties, they may not need to be staked, and those are really great ones to put in containers. You can put any dahlia in a container though. You just want to keep in mind the overall size of the mature dahlia. Like if the tag says it's going to grow 60 inches, it will in that season, if it gets enough sun and water and so forth. So you want to make sure your pot is big enough to accommodate that. You want to make sure that the roots will have enough moisture retention around them, that it'll be heavy enough to support a super big plant. So just keep those things in mind. Also, when you harvest your dahlia flowers, this is interesting and something I learned kind of recently-ish, like in the last few years. I did not know that dahlia flowers, once you cut them, they don't open up anymore. So you know some flowers will continue to open up after you've cut them. Dahlias, you want to wait until they get to the size or the shape you want them before you cut them. So just keep that in mind. Also look at the back of the flower when you're getting ready to cut. The ones that look kind of papery or dried just means that that bloom has more age on it and it won't last quite as long in a vase. If it's looking lush and fresh, you should get up to about a week vase life out of it. Number 2 are Gladiolus, which there are a lot of different varieties in this category. Some will bloom early in the season, some mid-season, and some late season. They are more of a once and done sort of flower, so keep that in mind. If you want Gladiolus flowers throughout the season, just check the tag and see at what point they bloom and make sure you have varieties that bloom all season long, and that way you can enjoy them. I don't grow as many glads because the way that they are structured, the most popular glads anyway, they're tall and their bloom stalks are really, really long and more stiff, so they're a little bit harder to mix with other flowers. I tend to like to just cut a bunch of Gladiolus stems and arrange them by themselves in a vase. It's very striking. So right here I have the corms. That's what you refer to the bulbs as. You can see that these are quite small, and you'll find some corms that are small and some that are really big. The ones I planted out already were like 3 inches in diameter, and they usually start to multiply. So after a season, you'll have a single that you put in the ground, and then by the end of the season, you may have 2 that you can split, and that way you have 2 flowers the next year. But sometimes you can see with this corm, they're kind of like flat discs right here. If you look at the underside, you can see where the roots come out, kind of like the hairy roots, and then the top you can see the growth point. Even when there's no growth point, like on this one, or no growth, visible growth, hold on, Russell, you're kind of up in my business. They kind of always have like a little point right there, so you'll be able to tell what side is up and what's down. So down right there, roots, up right there is that little point. But like this one, you can see there's 2 growth points. So we'll get 2 blooming stalks out of this one, which is very exciting. Again, with Gladiolus, you kind of want to treat them the same as dahlias. They want full sun. They want an area with well-amended soil, compost starter fertilizer. They don't want to sit in water ever. You need to have a staking system in place for these as well because of how tall they get, most varieties anyway. And you will space these about 6 to 10 inches apart, depending on what type you're growing, and then 2 to 6 inches deep. So the bigger corms will go deeper down in the soil. The smaller ones like this will go quite a bit higher. So like these, I'll probably plant at 3 to 4 inches deep. To harvest Gladiolus, you'll cut the stems when the bottom 3 flowers are open, like 3 or 4 flowers. The rest of them will not be open yet, but they will open after they have been cut and arranged. And then you want to make sure to leave at least 3 or 4 leaves on the plant, because the leaves are what soak in the sunshine and create energy and feed the bulb for next year's bloom. So that's very important. And then they will last about 7 to 12 days in a vase. Number 3 are Callalilies, and these are a wonderful one because they don't get quite as tall as the last 2, so they don't require staking. They're great for containers, great for the edges of flower beds, and they have just a very clean, pleasing appearance to them. Their leaves are very glossy typically, kind of sword shaped, and they usually have a really beautiful variegation, like white or silver kind of design on their leaves. So the leaves look beautiful even apart from the blooms, which are kind of like tube shaped. They kind of swirl up into a tube, and they last forever in a vase, 2 to 3 weeks in a vase, which is amazing. And they are a magnet for butterflies and hummingbirds. This right here is what their bulb or rhizome, that's what it's called, looks like. Kind of just like a nothing. Like I would see this, if I wasn't a gardener, I would look at this and be like, that looks like a rock. Or like a piece of like tree stump or something like that. But this will actually form a beautiful calla lily. So right here, kind of anatomy of this rhizome, this right here is the bottom, the smooth part. And then if you turn it over, you can see all these knobs. Those are all growth points or eyes. So when you're planting these, you dig a hole about 3 to 4 inches deep. And if you're planting them in the landscape, you'll space them about 6 inches apart. In containers, you can go about 4 inches apart, and you'll just set it down in the hole like that and cover it over. They do like a well-draining, amended soil as well. So use compost and starter fertilizer again. Water very lightly after you've planted them, and it can take up to 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more, to see any growth. So it's one of those things that you just have to be patient and don't freak out if you haven't seen growth in, a week or even 2 weeks. Just give it a little bit of time, and they do need heat in order for that to happen. So just plant your bulbs and just wait for the beautiful show. Number 4 are canna lilies, which this is what their rhizome looks like. Again, it doesn't look like much. So rhizomes are underground stems. That's how they spread. So they create stems underground that then root in and will create new plants. You can see last year's stem right here, and you can see a growth point here and here. And I think these are the most tropical looking out of all the ones I'm talking about today. These have the huge leaves that look kind of like banana leaves. And you need to keep in mind the leaf structure because they don't like a really windy area. If you put them out somewhere where they're gonna get tons of wind, it can create tattered leaves. So put them somewhere protected where you can do full sun, and they do like more moisture. So if you've got a wet area in your landscape, or if you want to plant them in containers, which is great too, you want to make sure that they have very consistent water because they do prefer that. When you're planting these, you only have to go about 1 to 2 inches underneath the soil surface. That is all. They are heavy feeders, so amend the soil well and continue to fertilize them throughout the season. And you also do want to make sure to deadhead them. They get these clusters of beautiful, brightly colored blooms. Lots of different colors, reds and yellows, orange, coral, pinks, lots of beautiful colors, but deadhead those as they start to fade because that will help the plant create more blooms throughout the season. And number 5 are caladiums, and these are a really good low maintenance option for a shadier area in your garden. There are some varieties now that can handle sun. We've tried those out and they have worked really well, but they're grown for their leaves. The color variations are incredible. They'll have bright pinks, purples, reds, greens, whites, and a whole bunch of different variations in between. And there's something that you plant as a bulb, which looks an awful lot like a calla lily in that it's kind of disc shaped with a smooth bottom and then the knobby kind of eyes, growth points on the top. You plant them about 1.5 to 2 inches underneath the soil in an area that's consistently moist. They don't want to sit in water, but they don't want to really dry out. But they are low maintenance in the fact that there's no deadheading that goes along with them because they're grown for their leaves, and they don't like to be fertilized very much. They are a very light feeder, so if you put a slow release in the soil when you plant them, that'll pretty much last them through the season. Their leaves last really long in cut arrangements, and they're just a really great plant. You'll also find caladium bulbs available in different sizes. So in terms of figuring out how many you need for your space, you can get jumbo-sized bulbs, which you need 1 jumbo-sized bulb per square foot. If you get number 1s, you would need 2 bulbs, and if you get number 2s, you would need 4 bulbs to fill up that square foot. Okay, so that's it in terms of information I wanted to share about these 5 different types of wonderful plants that I feel like everybody should be growing in their garden. Now I want to head out into the garden and show you how to plant them. I learn that way best by visually seeing somebody do it. I do think though that I'm going to wait a day or two. It's been raining for a good part of this morning, which has been glorious for us here in the high desert, but it's made everything pretty muddy. So it might be a day or two for me before I get out there, but it'll only seem like a couple of seconds for you guys. We're out in the cut flower garden now, and this is where all the dahlias are gonna go, probably in the next week or so. I'm very excited to start seeing some growth and flowers out here, but I brought a few clumps of a variety called Mambo to start my first row right here, as well as some compost and starter fertilizer. So let me show you what a tuber looks like, kind of like the anatomy of a tuber, and then we'll get them in the ground. So this is a clump right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and plant this whole clump in one hole. We'll get a nice big plant and lots of flowers from it, but essentially you could separate this whole thing and each one of these tubers would produce a plant. So look at this one right here. This is a single tuber. This is the body of it right here where it's a little bit thicker, and then it kind of skinnies down to its neck right here, which connects the body to the eye, which is the growth point, and you can see that growth right there. So even though this is a lot smaller than this, it will still produce a plant and some blooms. All right, so let's just get these planted. Okay, so I got two different varieties actually. I forgot I had some Hepet Blue Eyes. And you always want to make sure to put an identification stake next to whatever you're planting. Now we're going to plant a few Gladiolus corms. So that's pretty straightforward. I have them spaced roughly 6 inches apart, maybe a little bit more than that. And they're about 6 inches deep. I used my auger to dig the holes, makes the job a lot faster. And then I tossed in some compost and starter fertilizer. And then we have yet to put our staking system up in this row, but that's on the list for this next week, and it'll look exactly like the staking system over here. And we're gonna head back to the house to plant the callas and cannas because I wanna do those in containers. All right, I've got my containers prepared. I'm gonna put the canna in this one, and I'm just gonna do one rhizome because this one gets quite large. It's a variety called Cleopatra. It has yellow and red blooms. It's really striking, and once it's up above the soil surface, I'll probably come in and plant some other annuals in this container, but it'll be a beautiful centerpiece. So this one we're just gonna plant, in fact, let's just do it. We're gonna plant it just a couple inches below the soil surface with the growth points facing up, and just tamp in the soil around it. We'll water it in very lightly today, and then we'll wait for growth. And this pot is concrete, it's very heavy, and because that variety I think grows about 3 feet tall, I think it'll be perfect because it'll be a beautiful tall striking centerpiece in there, and it'll be the right proportion for the container. Now this one right here is for the Callalilies. I like the bowl shape of this and the color. This is a calla that's got green leaves with white specks, and then the bloom is kind of a melon color, like kind of like a deep melon. So I think that that color will be beautiful contrasted with this shiny brown here. So we're gonna just space these around in the pot. We're going to use all 5 of them in here, so it's a very striking display. And then I'm going to bury them about 3-ish inches deep. So smooth side down, growth points facing up. They just nest right down in the soil like that. So let me finish with these 4. All right, these are all done, and I probably won't plant anything additional with the calla lilies because I think 5 will fill that container beautifully. But I am excited to come in with some more fluffy, shorter things to plant around that canna in the big container. I am going to be moving these with the pot dolly to a sunnier location so that they will be happy campers. And that is going to be it for today's video. I hope it was helpful to visually see how to put these bulbs down in the ground. I know that always helps me out a ton. And these bulbs, these 5 that we talked about today, are just easy to grow. They're easy to find, and I just highly recommend tucking them into your landscape, whether or not you're doing them in containers or in the ground somewhere, or even in a cut flower garden situation like we are, so we can cut them and not feel guilty about stealing them from our flower beds. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.